So let's live these moments together. Full context laid bare from past to present. We'll get to the future. But first, let's live this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live across the world tonight. You feel that buzz in the air? That's what it sounds like. When conviction walks into the room, tonight, we're not cheering for hype. We're witnessing work. Years of grind the world never saw, doubt that never got the last word. He built it alone. He carried it alone. And now the world's about to see what patience really buys. New York City, the internet, the entire future of money. Please welcome the one who earned every inch of this moment.
Nobody's here yet, or maybe they're all gone forever. Well, the few of you that are here, NBK, it's been a while. Are you ready? Let me make this. The chat is pretty huge. Oh well, I'll just keep it like that. I wanted to zoom out for a sec because it's hard for me not to see, like I try to check my bias, but it's hard for me not to see the alignment between the whole thesis, you know, the divergence between my expected future and what the whole market's chasing is so wide. It's probably it has to be like one of the biggest divergences in human history if my idea is correct, which I think it is. Right, the casino is near the end. Like we're near the end, in my opinion. I don't think there's gonna be more cycles after this, like at least in the way people define them. So right now it seems like what's happening is there's a huge crowd of people that have been trained to believe in 4-year cycles. Really, they were mainly trained after 2021 to believe in it. They were trained previously on halving cycles that happened every 4 years. I always thought it was nonsense. But I think that's why you're seeing total capitulation. I think trader sentiment, trader charts, like the most popular ones, are bearish now. And I think that's just mass psychology reflected in subjective TA. But the way I see it, like on the higher time frames, really is just compression. But it's interesting to me because I see the same type of fractal in Litecoin being repeated over smaller and smaller time frames. It's the same type of structure. I mean, it's kind of like a bullish bat harmonic, but not quite. But similar structure to XRP. It was much smaller, but it happened before its 900x rally, and similar in Dogecoin. I've said that a few times, but I never really pointed out like exactly what I mean. Like the structure is basically two highs at the same horizontal resistance, you know, price getting rejected, and then having these deep 786 retracements, right? 786 fib level retracements. So it happened once. I would consider this like high, one low, high, and then this is like the second bottoming structure of this largest degree, most zoomed out macro time frame, and then we had it repeated here. This is more similar to the XRP style fractal, where you have two highs basically at the same level. I mean, this slight lower high, and then two higher lows with this kind of mid-range bottoming structure in between. This happened over a 2-year period, very similar to the largest degree pattern I pointed out. And then you have it again in a more compressed time frame, the same exact structure here, like repeated over the last year, right? Like, it can move down a little bit more maybe, but I don't know. If you're following like this last year's structure, this is kind of, you zoom in on the lower time frames, the bottoming area you'd expect if this like symmetrical triangle is gonna hold. So it doesn't have to come lower. And I think based on a lot of the lower time frame volume indicators that I think have been reliable, we've had a bunch of building bullish divergence at this lower trend line. And so I see like a triple nested type structure that aligns so well if my larger macro thesis and fundamental thesis in crypto is going to manifest. It's also what wave basis gives you on the highest time frames too. Like all these nested 1-2s. So I think you have the most dominant narrative in crypto that will be challenged. And I've held this thesis for a decade now. But the idea that Bitcoin isn't just BTC. It was just the first Bitcoin chain. And it reached a monetization limit already. It's gone nowhere. And the only other chain, it's way more likely now than ever before. The second Bitcoin chain is LTC. Because monetary network effects converge around the dominant chain until it becomes too expensive, right? Because Bitcoin's a decentralized network that doesn't scale. So this process will continue to happen. My expectation for the cycle is that we would get a blow off. We kind of have the perfect sentiment for that now. You know, sentiment in crypto is terrible relative to stocks and gold and silver. I know gold and silver are rallying on historical symbolic monuments of, you know, inflation protection and stores of value. But I know realistically in practice, the only way you get a store of value in a monetary asset is if you can protect it from governments that will confiscate and monopolize the money. And gold, to me, failed to do that because the cost of resistance is so high. I think monetary networks like Bitcoin, where the architecture is designed for resistance, lowers that cost dramatically. And so it has a chance to succeed on cost, on being more competitive, right? The total cost, meaning like total cost to verify, move, store, hide, and transact without permission is much lower. Which is BTC is way overpriced based on that. And on the longest term perspective, I think Litecoin has a market cap potential as great as Bitcoin or higher in multi-trillion-dollar range. And not everyone's just gonna buy something based on a short-term hype cycle. Most of these chains will die. Most likely, the ones that survive and can compete with state money are the ones that will win. While everyone right now is thinking, oh, what's the most safe, compliant version that will not threaten the state? The people think those are going to win, but in my mind, we're in end stages of bankrupt empire, and I don't know why you'd want to loan them money. It's the only things that will really succeed are the ones that can compete and resist. And so I think, like, that's the high time frame view. The lower time frame, I think we have a good chance of bottoming out here. On all these pair charts, it looks to me like we're gonna try to break out here again soon, against XRP, against Dogecoin. These pair charts, where is Doge? LTC Doge. Like, you've seen this practical so many times. I think we're gonna break this horizontal resistance, and most likely this extends. Like, to be honest, once crypto figures out how to value money, which might be forever, but the market will do it automatically over time. This should retrace the full move down from, like, Litecoin should be, based on what I just said, the fundamental view of consolidation around dominant monetary networks, because they have higher utility, it should be at a higher relative price than it was in 2020. Like, if this, where's the full chart? I forgot which one has, is this? Okay, yeah. Like, fundamentally, it should be priced higher relative to Doge than it was before it broke down in 2020. So I think eventually it's going to reverse this full move. Time frame, I don't know, but if reflexivity happens, it would happen this expansion. At least to here, back to the March 2021 levels. The 2618 type move that, I mean, Bitcoin did this out of the same type of structure here in 2020. It rallied, I don't know, like, if you take the same type of level, basically the 2618, and it was near vertical. And I think that's what we're doing here. We just had one more retest of the highs, kind of like Bitcoin did, came back, pulled back, and then vertical ascension started there. I don't really like fractals, but this one has played out so many times that it's hard. Like, I think this probability of it happening again is extremely high. So it's a like 10x move at least, I think, against Doge. And that could mean Doge just falls, but that would be a 90% drop. And I don't think that's going to happen right away. Eventually, maybe, but the entire market rallies from here. At least a 10x move against Doge. If we get that, then, right, like, you're in a mania scenario already. And if my fundamental thesis comes true and we get this migration where it passes, Litecoin passes BTC and users, and the whole narrative flips, it will be, yeah, it will be the largest move. And we're at, again, disbelief stages, lower search interest than we've ever really had in Litecoin. I mean, so much. So lower. And It's insane. So the stored energy is there, the disbelief is there, all the trader sentiment being bearish, but they look at this through a lens of just charts. Whether it goes slightly lower or not, I don't know, but decent chance to short term. This, like, we're bottoming out right here. And because we have, again, like, this fractal structure repeated on lower and lower time frames, it was 4 years between these two tops. It was like a year and a half between these two, and you know, half of that time between these last recent highs. So I think if we can bottom, if we do break these highs, it will be vertical. So my primary expectation has not changed, even though we failed. It just coiled farther. We've created more disbelief, more capitulation. 4-year cycle theory gets invalidated. Enough money will come flooding back. Capital will concentrate. There's not a lot of coins that have the number of on-ramps that Litecoin has, and there's not many coins that have as little attention as Litecoin has right now. And no other coin really competes with Bitcoin. So I think we're in a good spot. Yeah, I just started I forgot to record the last few live streams, but I did start recording today. So the last two, I forgot. But I'll upload them after, you know, after every stream starting today. As long as I remember to hit record. So yeah, apologies on the last few, but going forward, I think I'll be able to do that. December 31st prediction. It's so hard short term, but if we can muster up a rally here, I think we can move back to the highs pretty quickly. I mean, these rallies in crypto are so short-lived. But I think it's not gonna just moon to all-time highs in 2 weeks. I think into for Q1, Q2. If momentum is there, and all these false narratives get disproven, you're gonna have a huge amount of momentum. And I think capital will rotate within crypto because all these assets are like mispriced higher and Litecoin's relatively underpriced. There's a lot of capital rotation once Litecoin shows momentum from other coins. And then I think if crypto itself or a few assets get momentum, you'll have rotation from gold, silver, stocks, which are huge assets. And Litecoin's tiny, with a restricted supply. Probably more restricted than ever, given that this consolidation has gone on longer than any consolidation in crypto history, really, while holding the lows and being capped at these higher price levels. It's kind of confusing to me that so many people turn bearish. Just for, like, the technical analysts only. Because it's not like Litecoin ever made lower lows. It made higher highs in the last 4 years. It's consolidating at a higher level than it was from 2022 to 2024. And that's not true with a lot of these coins. Right? This is like breaking structure. Dogecoin, Cardano, like a lot of these look way weaker just from TA alone. Like nothing, like Dash, yeah, had a pump, but it was making lower lows forever. A lot of the Litecoin's competition on the proof of work side is the same. Even Zcash, it was making lower lows and then it went sideways and pumped out of there, but nothing had consistent higher lows and sideways kind of consolidating, coiling price action. They've been far more volatile. Like, yeah, there's nothing like it. And there's nothing structurally, fundamentally, that can push price of these coins. There's an outlier, it's just Litecoin. Or Bitcoin 2. The second Bitcoin. It's a better description than calling it Litecoin. Music's a bit loud? Okay, my bad. I turned it down. Sometimes I don't have my headphone volume turned up, so I think it's like quiet in my headset, but it's loud on the stream. So yeah, hopefully we're bottoming here. I think sentiment's more reliable than TA for me. We have hidden bullish divergence here. This is capitulation. But we're starting on the lower time frames to see higher lows in OBV as price goes sideways. Let's check funding rates. Still extremely low. I mean, funding rates are below baseline, and open interest is just oh, this is Solana. This, like, it's kind of the same for all of them, but Litecoin especially, like, just total capitulation. This is lower now than the $60-ish bottom we had before the rally. So really, sentiment conditions are good. It's kind of reflected everywhere in open interest, funding rates. Total disbelief. So and we probably will have a 9 on the TD sequential, like a 9 TD buy here. Oh, one sec, let me... It's live on TikTok, but I don't think I enabled my microphone. Okay. There's nobody here, but just in case. I'm starting to feel pretty bullish. Like when ETH and like when Bitcoin are at points where we're close, I think, to a reversal. Might get one more move lower here. But I think it's pretty close. You kind of have an inverse head and shoulders here, and then again like a 786 type fib retracement from the move here. So maybe we come back down a few more percent, 3%, but should reverse quickly off the lows if that's correct. Litecoin to be retired? I don't know. I think for what's coming, I think almost nobody's gonna be retired, regardless of how much money you have. It's gonna be a different world. Alright, 13 bulls left. 13 bulls in the chat. 13 people remaining. So if this happens, I think the people still here deserve it more than any other crypto community, because almost everyone doesn't have patience. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. What's up, Eric? It's gonna get quite uncomfortable. Yeah, I think so. I think we have one final disbelief rally, change the narrative. And I think after this, I think that most of the casino is gonna get deleted. And then slowly over time, over like 5 years, this market will look quite a bit different. I think the narrative today is like anything that's, you know, going to resist or be non-compliant is like bad and is going to go down, but I actually think it's the opposite. I think when trust truly breaks, financial assets start falling, and you know, a lot of this malinvestment is eradicated, cost is realized, and we see very large amounts of QE. I think that narrative flips. Since 2018, yeah, it's definition of patience for sure. Outlast everyone else. Persistence, fundamental conviction, building your own internal logic will win, while everyone else has been trained to follow hype cycles. It's just not gonna work. That's why I think it's funny. It's like sentiment has driven this market. That's why you saw the rise of technical analysts, because it's just a sentiment game. But eventually it's going to change, and I think the fundamental analysts, the people who, unlike stock market, there's not really any good valuation frameworks for monetary assets, since the government's had a monopoly over it for so long. But the people who are early to that, I think, will win. Like, I don't see anyone else really, and I didn't see it over the last decade. Like, I feel like I kept thinking the market would understand what I was trying to say eventually. But even the Litecoin people, I remember in 2020, even 2017 to 2021, there was no talk of like substitute Bitcoin chain or more Bitcoin chains arriving. It didn't even exist. Even though it's been happening for a long period of time. Like the market just clinging to old narratives, and because price action hasn't changed, the narratives persist. It will until it just breaks. And I know that it's inevitable if we move out of the casino. And I don't see how the macro environment and future we're heading into doesn't force that narrative change. And there's just very few people that are talking about that anymore. It's crazy how financial incentives warp people's minds, and influencers will just join a trend. Nobody's trying to create a new lane. Yeah, it's clearly the second biggest chain on the proof of work side, at least. And I think that those are the assets that will be worth the most in the future. And what's unpopular is that the paradox of Bitcoin is that the value proposition, not that speculative fixed supply stupid narrative, but like the actual tool of Bitcoin and the architecture becomes increasingly more valuable as central governments have more problems. It's like the paradox of Bitcoin to me. It's like actually in a environment that is usually bad for risk assets is bullish for the fundamental value prop of Bitcoin. It's just it's trading, like everyone's made into this macro asset that correlates with liquidity cycles. So close. What is today? Thursday? I think next week, well, the coming few weeks, we're gonna break out here, maybe at the very end of December. Nice, NVK. How's the stock market doing? So the Russell 2000, look, like it's breaking out relative to the S&P 500. Finally. This is the lowest level that it saw since 99 with the AI stuff getting all this hype. Had a massive rally though right before the dot-com bubble collapsed. Wasn't very long either. It's 140 days. That's similar to what I mean, yeah, going into spring for a potential top here. But that was massive. It was similar to 2020, right? When altcoins went crazy into March of 21. This was only about the same, 160-day rally. I think that's what we're about to see. Rotation. And this broke out like small caps relative to large caps in November of 2020. The rally in Dogecoin started like December of 2020. On a lot of the alts, let's add this on here. Started moving December. It was like a month later, right? This is alts over BTC versus Russell, which is like the equivalent altcoin stock market over the S&P 500. So it's funny because literally it is like the most entertaining outcome, or the most unlikely perceived outcome by the crowd is what's most likely to happen. It's like without the disbelief and Fourier cycle theory ingrained in the psychology of people, you couldn't get a rally similar to 2021. I think it'd be bigger, more like 2017, but just a few assets. Like this is the necessary fuel. It's a zero-sum game really in crypto, and most people will be forced to buy a lot higher, and they won't end up making any money. Just how it has to work. If you're gonna make a ton, that means someone else is losing. Until it's adopted and then and monetized. And then it's not really zero sum, it's just a take from the state's tax revenue. So it's zero sum that way. Well, this market's a popularity contest. And that, like, TA used to be far less prevalent. But it's just momentum. If you understand the dynamics of why the price is the way it is, it shouldn't be that convincing. But for people that just rely on technical analysis, I'm sure, yeah, they think it's dead. And we'll trend to zero over a long-term time frame just because of recency bias. But I have my own internal framework that and future vision of what is most likely over a decade or two. And so I just see mispricing. I understand it's just a popularity contest and most people are gambling and there's all this marketing, and generally like the most marketed coins are the ones that have gone up the most because they're just people buying coins on Coinbase that have no real understanding of what they're buying or understand why they need it. They just think, oh, it's a fixed supply and the government's supporting it. or the institutions are buying it, and that gives them confidence, when in reality it should be the opposite. It's like governments don't really, they have a monopoly over money. Historically, governments wanted to monopolize control of the money that productive people chose, right? The market decided, like, okay, gold was money when economies moved slower, when they weren't digital. And gold was the one that cost them the least, right? It stored value through time the best. It degraded the least. The market over a long time period had this contest where it won, and then governments wanted to control it. They didn't decide what the money was going to be. That only happened after economies sped up, and you know, it was very hard and costly to transact, store, protect your gold. And so paper seemed like a better substitute, and it allowed governments to introduce a fake promise that they'd back the actual money with gold, and the population believed it, and then they rewrote monetary history saying, like, they built this fallacy into the public's mind that you can back a currency or back a money with a metal or something, and never told you or told people that, you know, as soon as they introduce paper, you're trusting them and they want to tax you, and they can just print more paper without you knowing. And it's allowed us to artificially manipulate rates lower, buy more time, until eventually it just cracks. And I think governments just lose credibility and trust, and now the cost of resistance through natively digital money like Bitcoin is much lower than it was when we didn't have it, when there's just gold. So what I think is it's possible for people to resist, and I think because of the nature of the economy shifting much more towards non-physical things, that will accelerate adoption. Privacy tools are getting better, just nobody's paying attention to them. And it will just be like an individual choice. Is the risk of getting in trouble with the government, if you have really good privacy tools, maybe they calculate their individual risk, like, okay, there's like 1% chance I get caught doing this, but it saves me 50% a year. And all my friends start doing it, start transacting with each other natively in crypto, and they're saving all this money. And so that's the way I see it playing out. And then there's just war over money, and government tries to kill it. I'm rambling, but that's what I think. Otherwise, we just stay in the casino forever and we play around with false narratives that don't mean anything. It's just a lack of honesty in the whole crypto community. A lack of understanding. It's just whoever bought the biggest bags literally decided to redefine what Bitcoin is. Like Michael Saylor. I don't know if you guys watched it. I can't even watch it. It's so bad. It's worse than Michael Saylor's presentation. All of his recent ones. He did some digital. He's like calling this stuff. He's issuing digital credit. He's promising high yields on a yieldless asset. Guaranteeing automatic 30% year-over-year returns with no understanding of the value prop, and just expecting more speculation infinitely. That's why I made that 21 Million Lies album. I think it's worse than Do Kwon. And I was pretty early to calling Do Kwon. I thought this silly token would go to zero. He's doing the same thing. Oh, I mean, I think like in the future it will be word of mouth, and people that slowly start exiting. Yeah, when the realized cost is super high, when inflation is really high, interest rates are high. I think the market will naturally route around it, and the least resistance path is going to be Bitcoin chains or Monero, but it depends on, or privacy tokens. I think it will be a sum of chains equally. I don't think people are going to care too much. The way I envision it is you will have like an app with multiple proof of work chains. If you have eventually credit layer networks that emerge around these that are decentralized, you will just select the security level you need, and it will give you a price or quote you a price. Like Bitcoin 1 BTC is like $100 or 150. I don't know what it'll be, but like $200 to settle. And if you're getting paid $1,000, is not going to make much sense. You don't need that security. You'll just pick the lowest cost chain that secures the amount of money you want. It's like you could pick a super low cost Bitcoin chain, but you might have to wait like a full day to get the confirmations you need to feel secure, so you won't do that either. The market should optimize for efficiency. But right now, they don't even know what they're buying or why they need a high security chain or low security chain, or what type of privacy chain they'd want. But all this stuff, eventually the market will learn, because they'll be incentivized to do it. Because they're going to be getting super poor operating in the high tax system. There's really two options: learn and understand, and everyone, I think, will have to be competent in it. But that's the way I see it. What's up? Chevron greetings. Lamont A. Rage Keep. Buy platinum and gold instead. This is the time you should be selling gold if you're speculating on it. Honestly, most people are buying gold through ETFs. They're like running towards like historical symbols of safe haven assets, the one your grandpa tells you about, without understanding why it originally failed. It's like the only way gold, I think, continues momentum is either like real commodity demand for it, some, new industries need gold, or the government just monopolizes money again and fools the population for another round that they'll back their money with this metal, and we'll just get like a reset and start the system over again, and eventually run into the same exact problems we have now. I just don't think you can solve political problems like the ones we have with politics. Obviously not. The political problems are just getting worse and worse. I think the market has to route around those. If we could have solved the money problem with politics, it would have already been solved. You continue along the current path, you're just gonna live under an authoritarian style, heavily capital controlled environment. But I don't know, gold's still used like in Eastern countries quite a bit. People like hoard it. I don't think they really transact with it much, but like India and Southeast Asia, I know it's really popular. But kind of for the same misunderstanding and reasons that Bitcoin is popular in the West. They don't know. Like, if the privacy technology and things get better, like I think they will, then gold price can go down a lot. Right? If it loses its monetary premium to cryptocurrencies, then the relative price of these things to gold and silver will moon. Let's look at like one against silver. It probably broke structure to the downside. Like take out liquidity. I think it reverses sharply. Kind of like here. It broke the lows. And reversed sharply. How's Bitcoin looking? Seems like it's at an area where it should bounce. Gold is real money? Well, it's real money if people use it as money. If the market's using it. I don't see anyone using gold around me. I see more people using crypto, but that's because I'm in, like, actually using it. I've received and paid people in crypto where I haven't done that in gold or silver. And most of the time I'm paying people online. It's just like if you hire someone or you work with someone in a different country, you can't use gold or silver. You can't ship it to them. And you can't tokenize gold like people think. Real world assets can't be tokenized or protected by a blockchain. Yeah, but that's the thing people misunderstand. That's why I always disagreed with credit layer, like centralized credit layer networks working. Like if the government doesn't want you to use it, you won't use it. They just tell Tether to block the transaction. And they will do what they say. It's just like you wouldn't be able to use Coinbase or the Strike app to send people Bitcoin. And it's funny because all those people like Jack Mallers preach permissionless, but it's like you're in a market right now where it's not a threat and it's not challenged. They don't know what permissionless means. The only people you have to ask for permission from is the government. Right now they allow it. That won't be true if it successfully is becoming monetized, right? Because that means everyone's still using the dollar. If more and more people actually start doing commerce in crypto, it means inflation gets really way compounded higher, especially if the highest value creators in the economy start moving. It's a disproportionate effect on inflation or the cost of still using the dollar, right? And the whole population will be mad, right? Their retirement and transfer benefits are worth less and less because less people are using the dollar, so the relative price of everything in those dollars would go up, and they're not going to be okay with that. That's why if it works, there will be a war over money. despite the popular narratives in the casino. But yeah, while it's not a threat, we can play pretend. Alright guys, I don't know what else we can look at. How are Bitcoin fee levels looking? It's crazy. Median transaction values are $90. Litecoins are closer to 200. If the speculators really congest the chain like I think they will, I don't think there's going to be much of any real economic activity backing Bitcoin. It'll all move to Litecoin. And then it's the dominant Bitcoin chain. And the anger will be astronomical. I think they'll want to kill us. Monero looks like it's going to make new all-time highs soon. Alright guys, not much else to say. What's up, Flippin' Finance? How's it going? I'm just about to conclude this stream. Thanks for coming in here, though. Let's see. Yo, what up, Mike? How's it going? Is anyone in the TikTok live stream? I think that will work well once, oh, it's discontinued due to inactivity? Nobody watched anyways. I'll just start it again later. Litecoin's the only chart with proper structure against metals. Yeah, we're just looking at that a little bit. I think the most compelling chart is LTC Doge. I think it's about to 10x from here in the starting in the next few weeks. Yeah, this looks like a descending triangle and taking out the lows before reversing back into the range and then higher. I don't know how much momentum gold and silver have left. Yeah, I think Litecoin's the only chain that has any real monetary network effects outside of Bitcoin, but Bitcoins have been declining because Litecoin's been taking its users. There's really only one chain in this market worth buying because it's funny. The whole market is like trained backwards to follow hype and momentum. But once hype and momentum come to the dominant chain, the most dominant second Bitcoin, or maybe even most dominant ahead of BTC, then it's just the momentum should be so extreme. It's like we have bullish divergence on the daily time frame. I don't know how well this pair volume works, but yeah, the most compelling ideas for me are the fact that the Russell's breaking out against the major indexes, kind of like it did prior to previous altcoin rallies. Yeah, thanks for coming, Chevron. Appreciate it. Yeah, all other major altcoins are just floating on air, I think. Most of them. Ethereum's the only one that has activity, but it's like, it's such a large market cap asset. And I think proof of stake chains are worth a lot less than proof of work chains that develop network effects in the long term. Like, I think Litecoin has a multi-trillion-dollar total addressable market. Alright guys, I said all I wanted to say. I'll upload this chart stream as soon as I end it. Oh, inevitable? Yeah, your name is inevitable. Alright. Thanks guys for coming in here. Appreciate it. I'll keep the stream going, but I'll end this one. Thanks for hanging out. Back to... Oh, this is a party. Stay around for this.
Right here at the moment it flips. This is for the real ones. The ones who didn't need permission to see the truth. The ones who held conviction before the crowd remembered the chart existed. Are you ready to flip everything? Welcome to Ghost Chambers. Where'd he go? Wasn't he done? It died, bro. It's over. Wait. I was buried, mocked, memed, forgotten. They said I was too slow, too old, too cheap to chase. But time moves different when your blocks still breathe. You didn't see me, didn't need me, but you will! Oh, you will! Ghost chain.
They said I was a clone, a copy without a crown. But I got the same bones, just no one wrote me down.
Still here, frightening. The ghosts they left is lightning. While they dance with smoke and hype, I kept my rhythm tight. Now they're whispering my name, but I already changed the game. You praise the chain with fees, but mock the one that frees. We move the same blocks, but I don't sell dreams. Same code, no cloud, same weight, less shout. You bow to the brand I built without.
Dead chain, huh?
Funny.
I'm still dancing.
Dead chain. Dead chain. Dead chain.
Still swinging.
Still swinging. You missed the block, missed the block. Tick tock, tick tock. Dead chains, good. Dead chains, good. Dead chains, good. Dead chains, dead chains, dead chains, don't need hype when you got up time. Dead chains, dead chains, dead chains, 12 years, no sleep. Dead chains, dead chains, you just tweet, left for dead, but I got rhythm. No devs, nah, no drama. You chase trends, I make time.
Call me a ghost, but I still move. Call me dead, but you just prove. Call me a ghost, but I still move. Call me dead, but you just prove. Call me a ghost, but I still move. Call me dead, but you just prove. Call me a ghost, but I still move. Call
mastered the beat, block by block, tick by tick. I haunt this chain, you made me sick, but now I'm live, and you're late. Block, 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 block. That chain just go, that chain just go, that chain is that chain is that chain is that chain is Still alive, still here, still moving. This is the proof of groove.
No flash in the pan, we burn slow. No chart can tell you what we know. Every block, every beat, this is so on repeat. You can't fake this rhythm, can't bottle this light. We don't chase the moment, we move through the night. No need to prove, we got proof of groove. Flicker the chain, glow in the floor. Been through the dark, we're back for more. Not a flash with a fuse, ain't no hype, it's the muse. Can't fake soul, can't mute true. You can't chart this feeling, can't trade this love. We don't follow the trend, we are the groove. You can't fake this rhythm, can't bottle this light. We don't chase the moment, we move through the night. No need to prove, we got proof of groove. Proof of groove. Proof of groove. Proof of groove. Still alive, still moving. This is the proof of groove.
I've always liked Litecoin.
Yeah, I tweeted about it in 2017. It's basically Bitcoin, right?
They called it ghost, said it was toast. Called it slow, a boomer's post. Now it's running, now it's hot. Funny how that memory rots. They said no devs, they said it's dead. But now they tweeting what we said. Screenshots gone, takes a raise. Now they want that silver taste. Gaslight, gatekeep, ghost chain glow. You can't fake roots, but they still show. Flip flop fast when the price says go. But we been here, thought you should know. Gaslight, gatekeep, ghost chain burn. First they laugh, now they learn. Ghost chain, still alive. Who's that knocking? We survive. Gaslight, gatekeep, move that goal. Saying OG like they played a role. But we remember every post. Keep the fake love far from close. You dance for views, so fake dreams. Chase the pumps, ignored the beams. Now the truth's too loud to miss, and you're pretending this was bliss. You like what coins? Since when, bro? You said like coins just for show. Now it moves and you repost like you sit in front row close. They get corrupted, then gaslit. Now the chain goes through their script. You don't hold, you just flip. We don't need you in the clip. Gaslight, gatekeep, ghost chain rise. We stayed low, now touch the skies. You missed out, now switch your stance now. Litecoin was underrated. It was obvious. Wait, what's my password again?
They said it couldn't happen. Now they don't know what they're seeing. Every chart I watch said truth. Not hopium, just deeper roots. While they chase the trending lies, I held the chain they never tried. Now the shift begins to show, and they all ask how could this grow. They missed the math, ignored the spine. Now they're shocked it's flipping time. Is this real? No way it flips. Wait, is Litecoin back? This can't be it. Flipping everything that's not supposed to win. Flipping everything. This wasn't in the spin. Flipping everything. The chart must be broken, but I knew the moment the silence was golden. Golden, 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 golden. They built their castles out of noise, while I stack coins, not shiny toys. They called it dead, they called me late, but missed the chain that mirrors fate. The second Genesis, the code aligned. Same creator, same design. It always lived beneath their nose. Now disbelief is all they know. The second Bitcoin never left, it just didn't beg for spotlight breath. Now price obeys what time delayed, and they can't grasp what's underway. Flipping everything, but not by hype. Flipping everything, by function, by right. Flipping everything. The market forgot that truth doesn't care what bags you bought. Flipping everything. They never saw it, but it was always here.